Good morning. On this week's episode of The Professor Helps, I'm going to talk to you about the "and" conversation. What do I mean by that? Well, my husband and I this weekend were planning an outing. I should rephrase that. I was planning an outing in my head. My husband was excited about going to do something. And we both had the same end goal in mind, but what wound up happening is that we had a little bit of a scuffle because we both had a different idea about how it was all going to go. And this is based on our individual personalities. One of the things that we're learning with our communication coaches is that his style is to do, my style is to plan. And there is nothing wrong with either approach. There are pros and cons to both. It's one of the reasons that we complement each other so well and that we make a great couple. And it was really interesting because when we stopped and took a breath, we went, okay, wait a second. So you want to make a plan and you want to just go and see what happens. And as difficult as that is, because being together for so long, you can see each other's moods and you can tell the other person's getting upset, and you're like, I want to fix this, but you can't fix it because you're in it. We both took a step back and we both said, you know what, let's just go and see what happens. It's called a compromise. It's also called expecting the other person to be exactly who they are. And I was thinking about this because I think that it's very, very easy to have this notion that your way is the only way. And I talked about this last week in my episode about stop expecting yourself from other people. I think it is a little deeper than that. You have the opportunity every single day to decide whether you're going to let something bother you or you're going to observe it and say, oh, okay, that's what that person did. I can be affected by it and I can take it really, really personally, or I can take a step back and respond. It's a little bit like when I had my child, I was overjoyed to have my child. I was delighted to have my child, and it was really, 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 really hard to become a mother with no tools, no help, no advice, which isn't actually true. I had my mom to tell me how to handle things. My aunt, who is delightful and lovely to children, 9 kids of her own. When you're in it and you're on your own, it's so difficult. And all the feelings and all the hormones that are coursing through your body convince you that what you're feeling is wrong or bad. And that's just not true. And I definitely remember the conversation I had with myself when I went back to work. It's like, oh, well, I guess I'm not the greatest mother in the world because I'm going back to work and I'm really excited to go back to work, but that's not true. Like, it's an and conversation. It's, I love my child. I love being with my child. And I love working. I love the things that work does for me, for my brain. And honestly, it helps me be a better parent. It's the same idea that I apply to a situation in my childhood. My parents, every single Sunday, watched the New Orleans Saints. And we had every single tchotchke you can imagine, every t-shirt, every tote bag, and even some custom-made items from the Saints football collection. They were fans. And every single Sunday we broke down every single game. And I'm sorry, my parents broke down every single game. It was kind of like a religion to them. Yes, I was a closet Saints fan hater. I hated them, and I couldn't tell anybody about it because I was from New Orleans, and you can, get into a lot of trouble if you tell people that you're not a Saints fan in New Orleans. So for years, I resented it, and I hated it. I hated the fact that, I had been replaced in their hearts and minds by a football team. And I moved to Texas, and even though I did not immediately become a Dallas Cowboys fan, I didn't exactly give up on the Saints either. I would say, go Saints, and I would cheer for them from afar, and I didn't really get excited about them ever because all that resentment and hurt was there. Until last year, there was a situation where my husband had to go out of town unexpectedly, and it was Thanksgiving, and I had nowhere to go. And in a very important part of this story, my child, while adorable, is also annoying. And so I knew that I needed some help, and I knew that I needed some support. So I reached out to some friends of mine. I said, why don't you come over and watch the Saints game? Because I'm from New Orleans, everybody assumes that I'm this rabid Saints fan. So it was kind of this deep, dark secret that I had this problem with the Saints. So I went over to watch the game with them, and I watched my friends explain what it was to root for the Saints to my daughter. And in that particular time, the Saints were playing against the Atlanta Falcons, and any Saints fan worth their salt knows that they are known as the Dirty Birds. And we actually taught her to say Dirty Birds. And it was in that moment that I had a really big realization. I realized that the past isn't all bad, and there were some good times among those Saints games, and I did pick up a lot of enthusiasm and joy from my parents. The things that they feel about the Saints, I feel about other people. The fervor that they feel for the Saints, I feel for my daughter. I feel for my life and the things that I'm after. For example, I am not a professor, and I want to become one. So aspirationally, that's my title. And in watching my daughter learn about the Saints from some friends that I dearly love, right then and there, I became a die-hard Saints fan. And so all those years of resentment, it's just, it's part of the package. It could be easy to say, I used to hate the Saints, but now I love them. No. I started out hating the Saints, and now I love them. I am a die-hard Saints fan, and you can't get better than that, which is, it's an and conversation. So I invite you, the next time you find yourself in opposing viewpoints and discussions, instead of saying but, why not put an and on it? So for example, I am frustrated today that I have to go to the dentist. And I know that I will feel better because I'm going to get a tooth taken care of. Another thing is that, you want for things to be a certain way. And, we all want a vaccine. We all want an end to systemic racism. And it's going to take a lot of work. And the sooner that we realize that it's an and conversation, the better off we're all going to be. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my message for the week. I want to encourage you that if this inspires you, motivates you, or frustrates you, go ahead and subscribe, hit that subscribe button there, and then also share with other people. And hopefully they'll get inspired, motivated, and frustrated too. That is my message, and that is the professor signing off.